The more organized I am, the more smoothly my life runs, the more I'm able to get done, and the more successful I am. So I'm always trying to find ways to make things be even more organized so that I can be even more productive and have things just go that much more smoothly. I've made a few videos in the past about how I organize my life or about how to get organized, but in today's video we're going to be talking about how to stay organized. And the reason that I think that this is important is because even if you do a great job of initially getting your life organized and you put everything in order, the fact is that we always have new things coming into our lives, new information coming in, new projects coming in, and if we do not actively try to stay organized, then quickly we lose all sense of order and things turn into chaos. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about 6 steps that you can do on a very regular basis to help keep everything in check, everything organized, so that your life can run as smoothly as possible. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is more of a habit rather than something to do on a regular basis, but just something to constantly do. And it is to use your brain to figure things out and to come up with ideas and not to store ideas or to store information. Now, of course, we are all going to be storing some things in our brain. We can't avoid that, and we probably wouldn't want to, right? We need to store some information in our brain. But we shouldn't try to store things in our brain any more than we have to. So what I mean by that is we shouldn't be trying to remember, that doctor appointment that we scheduled for next week, or that we need to call Aunt Sally, or that we need to send that email. Okay, there's lots of things I'm sure that you need to remember to do, or things that you want to remember down the road for some reason or other. But the less of that you do, the more free and the more clear your mind will be to be able to be figuring things out, learning new things, and coming up with good ideas. Okay, the second thing that you need to do to keep your life organized is to deal with all of those new things that are coming into your life. Every time a new project is handed to you, or you get the mail, or you check your email inbox, or you're reading a book and you get an idea from a book, it doesn't matter where the information is coming from. Every time you receive new information, you need to have a way that you're capturing it and keeping it organized. So here are a few different examples of how you can do this. If you come up with an idea on your own, you can write it down. When you get the mail from the post office, from your mailbox, you can have a specific place that you always put it, and your emails you could sort into folders, or you could immediately star the most important one. As this information comes in, it's important that you are sorting it to some degree, right? Because if you're just writing down all the ideas that come to you, then you probably won't even go back and review them because there will be so much there and it will be really overwhelming. So you might want to keep different lists, for examples, of different types of ideas that come to you. Because you don't want to write down bread because you think I need to buy bread at the store, and then right after that write start a web design business. And then right after that, write start a clothing company, right? Because that would just end up being way too overwhelming. And I'm sure you don't do it that way anyway, but I'm just making the point, all this information that's coming in needs to be organized. So you need to have a grocery list, you need to have a personal to-do list, maybe a work to-do list, maybe a list of things that you are going to cook for dinner, maybe a list of ideas to pursue tomorrow, and also a list of ideas to pursue sometime down the road. The third thing to do to stay organized is to then process all of that information that's coming in. So you've already kind of been sorting it by category so that it doesn't get too overwhelming, but now you somehow need to deal with it, because it's not going to do you any good to just have a grocery list and have a to-do list and have a pile of mail, right? That doesn't really do you any good. So you have to take the information and then deal with it somehow. Now, the first thing that you can do to deal with it is to ask yourself, is it actionable? And the answer will either be yes, it is actionable, or no, it's not. So first, let's talk about what to do with the things that are not actionable. Things that are not actionable are things that you don't need to do something about, and they're either going to fall into one of two categories. Now, I used to make the mistake of just filing all of the things that were not actionable. So I have a big filing cabinet and I just had different files for all of these different things. And so, you know, birth certificates here and the instruction manual for the refrigerator or whatever it is in a different file. And then my idea for a business I wanted to start just went in another file. And it was organized, but because I was keeping all of these things together, the things that were more like an idea for starting a business never got touched, and I never went back and actually did eventually, you know, take action on them like I wanted to. Now, maybe they still all go in a big filing cabinet together, but maybe you have one drawer for things that need to be reviewed later and other drawers for things that are just being filed away for storage. Of course, you can actually physically organize these things however you want in a filing cabinet or in your computer or however you choose to do it. But the main point here is just to keep those two categories of things separate. Okay, so that was the things that aren't actionable, but now you have a whole another group of things that are actionable. So you ask yourself, is this actionable? And the answer is yes. That means you need to do something about it. So those things also go into two categories. The first category is things that take less than 2 minutes. So if it's gonna take you less than 2 minutes to do, then I recommend that you just take care of it right then, because it will take you more time and more energy to plan to do it in the future than it would for you to just do it right now. So for example, if you get the mail and in the mail you have a bill that you just have to write a check for and stick it in the envelope that's already there with it, then you should probably do that right then, because you can then just stick it right back into, you know, your mailbox, or if you're at the post office getting your mail, you can mail it right then. But otherwise, you're just gonna have it sitting there and you're gonna have to, you know, plan to do it and remember to do it and maybe schedule doing it on a later date. But on the other hand, if it is something that you need to, you know, look up something to figure out, or you have to go get an envelope and get a stamp, then it's going to take longer than 2 minutes. So then it probably falls into the second category, which is things that take longer than 2 minutes. And those things need to get somehow scheduled or delegated. And that brings us to the next point. Now, point 4 was all about organizing your files so that you actually know whether you should review them later or not. But step 5 has to do with organizing your tasks. So you've already dealt with the things that weren't actionable. You filed your things in an organized way. But now for organizing your tasks, I recommend that you use a 3-pronged system. So first off, there are the things that have definite dates that are either due dates or a particular time you need to do them at. So for example, a doctor's appointment or a date you have to turn in a report by. So those things that have dates need to go on your calendar at a certain time on your calendar, maybe like the calendar on your phone or on your computer, something that will give you a reminder so you will not forget. The second category would be things that don't have a specific date, but they need to get done, so you can put them on an organized to-do list. Now, I like to organize my to-do list by week and by day, so I kind of have a planner that has a place for each day, and then I'm writing the tasks down on that. And I find that really helpful because then I'm never tempted to procrastinate on them, because it says, you know, on Tuesday I need to do this specific task, so on Tuesday I just do it. But there are other ways you can organize it also. You might want to organize the tasks by project or simply by personal and work. And then the third way that you might categorize a task is to delegate it. So that is to say that you would decide to not do it yourself, but instead to ask someone else to do it. You also might decide to not do it as well, which is kind of a form of delegating. All right, so we're not quite done yet, but I just want to recap because I know that this is kind of a lot of information. So first off, you are not storing information in your brain. As much as possible, you are storing it outside your brain so that your brain can stay clear and so you're not overwhelmed. And then basically, you're just making sure that all of the information that's coming into your life does get organized and does get dealt with. So you're collecting it when it first comes into your life, and then you're deciding, is it actionable or is it not? And if it's not, you're organizing it in a file system. And if it is, then you're organizing it on your calendar and on your to-do list. So I hope that that makes it a little bit more simple, because I don't want you to be overwhelmed by trying to keep your life organized, right? Now, the last thing that you can do to keep your life well organized is to schedule regular planning and review meetings for yourself. Now, you could do this every week, but I find that that tends to be a little bit of an overkill, so I like to do this about once a month. And basically what you do during these meetings with yourself is you take a look at your goals, whatever you're trying to achieve in your life, and then you see if you are actually taking action toward your goals, and then you can assess whether or not you've been taking the right actions to reach your goal in the amount of time you want to reach it in, and you can kind of readjust and make plans for the future to help you get to your goals faster. Now, I have another video all about how to achieve big goals, and I'll link that up in the corner there, because in it I talk about my system for achieving my goals and for keeping organized in regards to the goals and how to, reach the big goals faster. So if that's something that's interesting to you, then I think you'll find that video really helpful. And let's just recap one more time. So first off, you are not storing information in your brain. As much as possible, you are storing it outside of your brain so that your brain can stay clear. And then how you can put that into action is to organize all of the information that's coming into your life so that it is all contained and it isn't being spread everywhere. And then you're dividing it into things that are actionable and things that are not actionable. The things that aren't actionable, you are filing in an organized way so that you know which of those things are just being stored and which of them you need to review later. And then all of the things that are actionable, you are either taking care of right away, or you are scheduling on your calendar, or you're putting on a to-do list that you're going to work on during the day, or you're delegating and choosing not to work on yourself. And then finally, you can schedule regular meetings. I'd recommend once a month to go over your goals and to see if the actions that you're taking on a daily and weekly basis actually make sense and you're actually spending your time how you want to be spending your time. Okay, so if you found this helpful, make sure you hit that thumbs up button to let me know and to help more people find this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss my next video. And also, I would love to see a comment from you down below about which part of your life you are interested in getting organized. So for example, if you're a student, maybe you want to get your homework organized so that you can stay more on top of it. Or if you run your own business, maybe you need to get your business organized or your tasks organized. Or if you're a mom, maybe you want to get your housework organized. So leave me a comment down below. And then if enough people are interested in organizing the same part of their life, then I might make another video in the future about how to organize that specifically. So like how to organize your housework, or how to organize your business, or how to organize your homework. Okay, well, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you found this helpful, and I hope that you decide to join me again for my next video.